Welcome back to the channel. We're doing another No More Mr. Nice Guy. Today we're doing episode 13 or part 13, which is we're gonna look at the start of chapter 4, making your needs a priority. Dun dun dun. One of the most difficult things for nice guys. Let's take a look at it. So Robert Glover, well, before we get into that, see the heading top there. Feel like ditching it all, right? So essentially, from what I understand, this is what kind of happens when you don't make your needs a priority. I think every wise guy has had this feeling, or most people have it. We've just thought of just ditching it all and running away. Um, well, even in Robert Glover talks about it in one of his here the example that he gives in his book. I'm not going to go through it again. By his book, No More Mr. Nice Guy by Robert Glover. Brilliant book. Has a lot of live examples of people that he's interviewed and talked to about this. He is a psychiatrist that dealt with this. But essentially I'll give the rundown. He gives an example in his book about one of his clients that was very scared to make his needs or to do anything about his needs, make it a priority or do something for himself. And always would have fantasies of ditching it all, running away. Yeah, so essentially it's he believes that it's selfish and it's self-centered to make his needs a priority. And again, this is from childhood conditioning, from seeing his parents. Let's say Robert Glover will go into more detail. He's got the more example in his book. Yeah, so the belief is when you make your needs a priority, you are self-centered and selfish. But at the same time, what's so wrong with that? I think people take it to the extremes or think you're going to take it to the extremes. But before we go into more detail about this, I generally believe that if you start taking care of yourself, you will start to become able to take care of your family or your inner circle. And then once you start taking care of that inner circle, and then you're able to go to the next step, which is a bit further out, But it all starts with, I think, taking care of yourself. For example, if there's an emergency on the airplane and the oxygen masks drop down, what do they tell you there? The instructions are first help yourself before you help other people. It doesn't help that you help someone else, but you don't help yourself. Then you're incapacitated in the time, and then you cannot help anyone. And yeah, being a bit selfish and self-centered is good, in my opinion. Most people don't do it to the extremes. Let's take a look at some of the next part we got here, which is dun, 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 low maintenance kinds of guys. What does that mean? Where does it come from? What are the social survival mechanisms? So in the next part, we're going to take a look at essentially what those three things are, or what nice guy, low maintenance kind of guys are, and the survival mechanisms that there was developed in this. Let's take a look. The first one, which is, what does low maintenance kinds of guys mean? Again, this is sorry, I don't know if I said it. This is an overview of what we're going to be covering and going into in more depth in the chapter 4 in the next few videos. So what does low maintenance kind of guys mean? What they focus on and what they hate. So nice guys generally focus on focus their attention on meeting others people's needs, and then they'll make themselves seem low maintenance, make like they have no needs, they have very minimal needs, or taken care of very minimally. And most guys, or nice guys that make their needs or make themselves low maintenance, they really hate making their needs a priority. It is a massive move for them. It's a lot of pressure that they have to go through to get this idea of making their needs a priority. I was similar. I think I said it in a previous video. I still do struggle sometimes with that. My immediate response is to say no, or to dodge it, run away from it, say I don't need it. Again, I am on the journey of recovering from this low maintenance. I've always seen myself as low maintenance. I've never tried to make my needs or my wants out in the open to other people generally. Obviously, with the nice guy syndrome, there are a few people, especially like for nice guys, their mothers or family, very close family that they are comfortable with. Not always, but generally, for myself, I was kind of comfortable with this one, like not asking, but stating my needs openly, or my wants openly in very close family. But I still try to keep everything down to low maintenance, especially around other people that are not in that inner circle. And you hate it. You hate making your needs known, making it a priority, putting yourself before others. It's a very difficult, at first, it's a very difficult concept to get over, to implement. But once you realize, hey, if I sort myself up first, that gives me the freedom and the responsibility, being able to be responsible for your partner, for whatever. You can start then. Once you're sorted, you don't have to worry. Then you can focus completely on her. It's like trying to save someone from drowning while you're drowning yourself. That's not gonna work, right? Essentially. So just look at it. So nice guys always focus on everyone else's needs, and they hate making themselves or their needs a priority or above other people, before other people. The next one is, where does low maintenance kinds of guys come from? Where was this come from? Where does it come from? So Robert Glover says the pattern that has emerged among the nice guys. He's saying it's from the childhood conditioning. Again, when it goes back to that abandonment video that we did, I might link it. I will see. So the childhood conditioning. When the child's needs are not met in a timely or a healthy manner, the child may come to believe he is bad for having needs, or he may think that his needs are the reason that people abandon him or hurt him because of his needs. So then, which goes into the next part that we'll speak about, which then develops the survival mechanisms, right? Because of the childhood conditioning. So typically, nice guys respond to that inaccurate interpretations of their life events, right? The believing that they are bad because they have needs, or they are bad in general. Um, they develop a number of survival mechanisms. I think we've gone through a few of them already. Some of them are not listed here. We'll go into a bit more detail when we go into a bit more into chapter 4. But here are a few. So they start to try appear needless and wantless, low maintenance kinds of guys. Um, they make it difficult for others to give to them. I gave an example where my LTR wanted to buy me a shirt, and I messed that up because I wasn't comfortable. Um, so that you make it difficult for other people to give to you. Using covert contracts, we will get into this in chapter 4. Covert contracts, super important. One of the most important things, I would say, when it comes to nice guys. I had no idea I had this until I discovered this covert contracts, and it makes so much sense. Essentially, it's when you do something and you're expecting an outcome, but you haven't verbally told the other person. It's a contract that you've signed up in your own head, and then when that person doesn't do what your contract in your head says, you get upset and you start getting that passive aggressive, start getting that rage, and we'll cover that in the next few videos. Caretaking, right? Putting yourself second and focusing attention on other people's needs. We will get into that more and more as we go along. So, uh, so creating illusions. Again, so we said like this is caused by the child, believing because his needs weren't met in a timely manner, he believes he's bad, or because of his beliefs, people abandoned him. Has created these mechanisms. Then it also creates the illusion of security for a child in his childhood. Um, these mechanisms, right? These survival mechanisms create the illusion that there is security now, and what actually happens is it only increases the amount that the needs are going unrecognized or unmet. It creates the illusion of that he doesn't need this, but then in actual fact his needs go unmet even more. We'll take a closer look at each of these mechanisms and add more as we go through the chapter 4 and take a look at everything. That's it for this one. Thanks for joining me. This was just an introduction to what we're going to look at and a bit of a brief explanation of what is a low maintenance kind of guy or nice guys. Maybe let me know, are you a low maintenance kind of guy? Do you have some of these survival mechanisms? Let me know in the comments below. And we'll jump into it in the next one. See you. Thanks for joining. Cheers.